Today we're going to break down the 7 top cities to live in North Idaho. Hey guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel, North Idaho Lindsay. I know a lot of people are very familiar with the Coeur d'Alene area, but there are a lot of other little communities in and around North Idaho. So I'm gonna rank them from 7 to 1. We're gonna start out with number 7. So number 7 for me in North Idaho is Athol. One thing about Athol that's different than a lot of other areas is that it is probably the largest geographic area, but one of the smaller populations. Athol is really known for its 5, 10, 20 acre parcels, kind of that rural agricultural lifestyle. Athol is kind of up and coming. They just built a couple of years ago a big highway 95 interchange, and they put a super one out there with more plans for this commercial area. There's been a lot of growth in the county in Athol, but Athol is still really small. It's very scenic, and it's kind of right in between Coeur d'Alene and Sandpoint, so it's a great location for those who kind of want to be out of town, but also not too far out that you can come in to the grocery store or to a medical appointment or get to the airport and you're not too far out. But it gives you that kind of remote country lifestyle that a lot of people who are coming from out of state seek. Number 6 on my list is Rathdrum. Rathdrum is what we would call kind of a bedroom community to Coeur d'Alene and Post Falls. Rathdrum has traditionally been a very affordable place to live. It's seen a ton of growth though, because Rathdrum sits in an area of Kootenai County called the Prairie. And the Prairie is surrounded on the north end by Rathdrum Mountain, on the west side by the border of Washington, and on the east side by Hayden, and on the south side by Post Falls. So it has a lot of space to grow, and so we see a ton of new construction. They are definitely those neighborhoods and developments where you've got your quarter-acre lot or smaller, and you're working with production builders out there. There are some unique communities like Radiant Lake. They've got a man-made lake in there, and it's a gated community, so there's a lot of families and really nice quality homes. Rathdrum also has a couple of recreational opportunities kind of right outside its door. Rathdrum Mountain and the Story Walk at Rathdrum Mountain is a really cool opportunity for residents in the area, and you can even find Sasquatch at the beginning of the Story Walk trail on Rathdrum Mountain. In terms of schools and quality of life, Rathdrum's a pretty quiet little town. There's a grocery store and, a McDonald's. They only have, the one high school, the one middle school, and the one elementary school. So you still get this vibe that it's a very small town. You're gonna know everyone that you go to school with from kindergarten to, senior year. Another thing about Rathdrum that I love is they've got this little downtown that you don't see in other areas. Like, it's not quite like Hayden or Post Falls. It's not as big as downtown Coeur d'Alene, but Rathdrum has its own little historic downtown, and there's some of the greatest Mexican food in North Idaho at Nadine's. And then Westwood Brewing has great food and great drinks also. And Rathdrum itself is just poised for a lot of growth. It's kind of maybe kind of surpassing areas like Hayden in terms of growth and popularity, just because there's the space. And I have heard from a lot of parents that they love the Rathdrum School District, and the STEM school, the charter school in Rathdrum, is incredibly popular as well. Number 5 on the list is Post Falls. I include Post Falls as kind of right middle of the road. It's definitely traditionally been more of a commuter community, kind of like a side community to Coeur d'Alene. Again, Post Falls is between Coeur d'Alene on the east side and the Washington border on the west side. But my favorite aspect of Post Falls is the river, and south of the river, there's Signal Point and a bunch of mountains on the south side of the river, and some of the most amazing homes you'll see on any North Idaho waterfront are on the Spokane River, and that Spokane River primarily runs through Post Falls. Post Falls does not have the traditional downtown that we see in Coeur d'Alene or Rathdrum or Spirit Lake. They are trying to create kind of this community center on Spokane Street where they've got Post Falls Brewing, the sawmill, they've got a number of waterfront condos that have been built that are really beautiful. So they're trying to make that kind of boulevard on Spokane Street into their downtown walkable area with restaurants and bars and entertainment. So they're working on that. It's not as prolific as I would say as downtown Coeur d'Alene is. So you won't find, when living in Post Falls and or trying to find activities or places to eat in Post Falls, you're not going to have that core area with a lot of these amenities. They're working on it, so maybe in the next 5, 6, 7 years we'll see that really blossom. Post Falls also is geographically a large area as well, because not only do you have the space on the prairie, but you have everything south of the river. And we see a lot of really unique homes, a lot of views from the south side of the river in terms of housing. You see the entire valley. And they also have a couple of recreational opportunities there. You can hike around the Post Falls Dam, and the Post Falls Dam, by the way, is amazing in the springtime to go just check out, because it's taking everything from Lake Coeur d'Alene that funnels down the river, and when we see spring runoff, the dam itself is amazing to witness. It's just very powerful. There's also some walking trails on the south side of the river. And then the Centennial Trail runs through Post Falls as well, along I-90, and I know that recreationally is something that a lot of people utilize for biking, walking, getting their dogs, their kids out, things like that. The other thing about Post Falls that I want to kind of note too is there is a massive amount of new construction, larger scale developments in Post Falls. The majority of all of the development and new construction you'll see in Kootenai County occurs in Post Falls. They have most of those large scale developments where you can find the elementary school in there. They've got a park, they've got walkways and pathways, and lots of families live in these neighborhoods, and they're perennially building and expanding these neighborhoods. You're going to have the HOAs, you're going to have the fancy entrances into the neighborhoods and things like that. So you'll find a lot of stuff out there that is new construction. Also, the one other thing I would say about Post Falls is, like I mentioned, kind of more of a commuter community. I think that it's done a lot in the past 5 to 10 years to kind of make it more family friendly, but it used to just be kind of this city that you drove through on your way to Spokane. So they're really trying to bring that more of a life and a personality to Post Falls, an individual personality besides just being next door to Coeur d'Alene. So we'll see that continue here in the next few years, and I'm looking forward to their downtown area kind of coming to life. Number 4 on the list is Hayden, Idaho. Hayden is a community just north of Coeur d'Alene and Dalton Gardens, And it includes an area where we have the Coeur d'Alene Airport on the west side of 95 and a couple of neighborhoods over there. But the majority of Hayden is on the east side of 95 between Hayden Lake and Canfield Mountain and Rathdrum going south. So Hayden is a very unique community. It has some older homes and neighborhoods with character. And inside Hayden is also Hayden Lake. Hayden Lake is its own little municipality. We've got a couple of golf courses in there, the Hayden Lake Country Club, Avondale Golf Course, and then Hayden Lake. And so you get a lot of beautiful homes, really expensive high-end homes around the lake in Hayden, and a lot of history around the country club. I love Hayden because it does have a little strip on Government Way that's kind of walkable in downtown. They host a lot of events at the park, bazaars and, food trucks and a lot of activities in the summer. The city of Hayden, it does a great job of building its little community right along Government Way where they kind of have this downtown area. Hayden also, especially as you go a little bit north and north of the country club and east into northeast Hayden, you start seeing properties out there that are huge acreage properties, maybe even some farms. There's some rolling hills in there. There's some really beautiful neighborhoods that have a lot of character, a lot of custom homes, a lot more space in Hayden. We don't see as many developments in Hayden as we do in Post Falls and Rathdrum, but that's kind of by design. The city of Hayden has kind of put in place some measures that don't inhibit growth, but definitely require certain types of growth. So Hayden is still really kind of maintained that kind of smaller town feel, and because they're not near I-90, it feels a little quieter. Just the pace of life feels a little bit slower in Hayden. So a lot of people really enjoy that. And then of course, recreation in Hayden includes Canfield Mountain, Hayden Lake, and up on the north side of Hayden Lake, we've got shooting ranges and UTV trails and all sorts of camping opportunities as well. And hunting opportunities. Can't forget hunting opportunities for those people in North Idaho. Also, Hayden has some pretty cool little restaurants. Capone's and also Kyoto Sushi and The Porch are some of my favorite places to visit in Hayden. Number 3 on the list, which might be a surprise, number 3 is Coeur d'Alene. And I'm putting Coeur d'Alene not at the top of the list because for me personally, this is my personal ranking. I love Coeur d'Alene. I live here and this is where I work, and I know it's kind of the epicenter of everything, but it's big. There's a lot of people here, there's a lot of traffic. It is the epicenter of all of the activity though, which is why I rank it at 3. We've got, the resort here, the lake, the parks. We've got the majority of the restaurants and activities like plays and, concerts or Coeur d'Alene art in the park, art on the green, and a lot of the economic drivers are here in Coeur d'Alene. The majority of the schools are in Coeur d'Alene. Higher education like the University of Idaho or Lewis and Clark State College and the BSU Extension are up here in Coeur d'Alene. And some of the most iconic neighborhoods and developments are here in Coeur d'Alene. Coeur d'Alene Place, the Fort Grounds, Sanders Beach, downtown Coeur d'Alene, Nettleton Gulch area, Canfield, Brentwood area. So Coeur d'Alene's, again, the epicenter. Everyone knows about Coeur d'Alene, and I love Coeur d'Alene. I really do. I'm a downtown person at heart. I live downtown. The food is great. The activities are great. Just being able to walk out your door and or park and walk around and or get out on the water in the summertime and enjoy the sun and hanging out with friends. Coeur d'Alene for me provides the most activities, and it's the urban area in this Kootenai County area. Number 2 on the list actually is a little town north of here called Spirit Lake. The reason I put Spirit Lake at number 2 is I love the idea of how small Spirit Lake is. They maintain this very small town feel, and they've got this true downtown area that's been incredibly well preserved. They've got a couple of bars and a couple of restaurants, but it's a short downtown, and there's a lot of pride in Spirit Lake, a lot of older homes. They have schools there. They've got the high school, they've got elementary schools, and they've got the lake, Spirit Lake. It does attract a handful of people from the Spokane area because of its proximity north, and you can just kind of dip into Washington. It does attract a lot of Spokane property owners on the lake. But when you think about North Idaho, and I think you think about these scenic little small towns, to me, Spirit Lake embodies all of that. One thing to know about Spirit Lake is it's far enough north that if you work in Coeur d'Alene or Post Falls or Hayden, or even Spokane, a lot of people work in Spokane and live in Idaho, you're probably looking at a 45-minute commute into Spokane, because you do have to take a 2-lane highway from Spirit Lake to get to I-90 or even over to Highway 95. So it is kind of tucked up there a little bit further north, but if you like that small town vibe, if you like a quaint, picturesque little downtown area, if you like a small lake with, old family cabins on it, Spirit Lake is definitely the place to visit or land. One thing to know about Spirit Lake, though, is they also, kind of like Hayden, have really gone out of their way to kind of protect the small town feel and not let a lot of the growth that we're seeing take over and control them. They have put moratoriums in place on building permits over the last few years occasionally because they're updating sewer lines and infrastructure, because they know as much as they would love to host everyone and everyone would love to build there, they're trying to grow smart, but they're trying to maintain their small town feel. The quality of life in Spirit Lake, I think, if you could give it a couple of adjectives, quiet, calm, safe, and kind of almost nostalgic of maybe a time past. We're finally to number 1. Number 1 on my list is not in Kootenai County, but it is North Idaho, and a lot of North Idahoans and Kootenai County residents spend time in this area because it is like insanely scenic. Number 1 is Sandpoint. I adore Sandpoint, and I don't know that I would personally live there because I work and I like being able to, live in downtown. But this is a place that I go to as often as I can. Every time I'm there, I just feel this sense of, I love where I live. I love that I have access to this. So Sandpoint has an amazing downtown also. And if you can't tell, I love downtowns. I love the idea that you can park your car and walk and do a little shopping, do a little eating, meet some friends, grab a drink, and it's all very walkable. I know walkability is very important to millennials and even boomers. It's the one thing that we might all have in common. So Sandpoint, as you drive in, you're going north from Coeur d'Alene. As you drive in, there's like a mile-long bridge, and they call it the Long Bridge, and you're crossing Lake Pend Oreille, and on all sides of you is just massive water and mountains. In the wintertime, we've got Schweitzer. You can see Schweitzer from the road. It's amazing skiing. It's the best skiing in North Idaho, and maybe even arguably one of the top 2 places in all of Idaho to ski and recreate. But it's clean. It's a small town vibe. They're on a huge lake and they've got mountains all around. It's definitely the most scenic spot. They've got great food. They've got good little bars. They've got great entertainment. There's a festival in Sandpoint at the end of the summer where they host, for 2 weekends in a row, they host multiple artists, country singers, hit makers from the 80s and the 90s. There's always something really, and even local artists, there's always something going on up there. So, recap of my top 7 places to live and or hang out in North Idaho. Athol is in number 7. Rathdrum is number 6. Number 5, Post Falls. Number 4, Hayden. 3, CDA. 2, Spirit Lake. And number 1 is Sandpoint. So if you have any questions about any of the stuff that you saw, or you're curious about any of the places that I talked about, make sure to drop a comment down below and I'll get back to you, or you can message me. You can also email me or text me at these email addresses and phone numbers below, and I'll get back to you on that. I hope you guys learned a little bit about the 7 best places to live and to hang out in North Idaho, and stick around for more info about North Idaho. We'll see you soon.